Good morning, students. I hope you are doing good. In today's English literature class, we are going to start a new chapter, Fire Buckets by Anjali Deshpande. First of all, let's mark the essay 1 portion. For that, come to the contents page. I hope you have all got this Mulberry English reader from the school. If not, please go and get it. It is available in the school office. Come to the contents page. So now we've already done for FA1 The Happy Prince and Michelangelo as a chapter and poem Lines Composed in a Wood in a Windy Day. Next for Essay 1 we have Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5 and Chapter 6. I repeat, we have Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 for Essay 1. Including the poems we have the poem The Hero by Rabindranath Tagore and the other poem The Village Schoolmaster by Oliver Goldsmith. Okay, I hope you have marked the essay 1 portion. Now let's start the chapter. Come to page number 39 for Fire Buckets by Anjali Deshpande. The chapter Fire Buckets by Anjali Deshpande is a story about an anthropologist who visits a small town and the excitement it generates in the lives of people living there. This story depicts the preparation done to welcome anthropologist Edward Heinlein. I repeat, the story depicts the preparation done to welcome anthropologist Edward Heinlein. Now, who is an anthropologist, you must be thinking? So come to the pink box that is given over here, column A and column B. An anthropology is a study of human race, especially of its origins, development, customs and belief. So a person who studies the development of the people living in a particular place is an anthropologist. The customs, the belief what a person follows, or the study of the human race, how a person is going from one place to another, or how is he adapting himself to the living conditions over there. So the story will be divided into different paragraphs. The students who are not having the book, for them I have made it convenient by dividing it into the first, second, third, fourth and fifth paragraph. As the paragraph changes, you just number it accordingly. So in the first paragraph, the news of the young captain. The young captain comes in with a news, and who came in for stock medicines brought the news. So he came in for the stock medicines, he came to purchase the stock medicines from a shop in that town, and he only gave the news that Edward Heinlein, the anthropologist, is visiting the town. So what did he do was, he got the news that Edward Heinlein was on his way to Debarru, and he told the compounder that before he had picked up his supplies from Seth's shop, the only one in the little village masquerading as a town, everybody had heard the news. So there was only one Seth's shop in that town, in Debarru, and that person, the young captain who came in, he had told the news of Edward Heinlein visiting that place. So the news spread from the shop to others living in the village. So that village was a little small place, like a small town only. A gathering of maybe 11 to 12 houses in which few people were living, and now that they were sitting over there and they spread the news did not have much distance to travel because the place was really small. So the news spread immediately as soon as the young captain had declared that the person is coming. In the third paragraph, there is a description of a hospital. So in that villages, only few people were living, like the political officer's bungalow was there, a dark bungalow was there. What is a dark bungalow? A dark bungalow is a place where visitors coming from different places came there and stayed over there stayed for night as well. Description of the hospital. The hospital was the axis around which the place revolved, and that for good reasons. It had everything that other offices and houses did not have, including a refrigerator. They were living in a small town which did not include refrigerators and basic amenities at everybody's place. but a refrigerator at that time was a really good thing to be told about. So this was the description of the hospital. In the fourth paragraph, we are telling about the people who lived in the village and the kind of houses they possessed, the kind of houses they lived in. Within the hour, everybody had heard the Edward Heinlein was about to come to Debaru. Debaru is a place about which we are talking about. The village or the town, you can say it is a kind of village, or you can also say that it is a kind of a small town. After that, there weren't many to qualify as everybody. The meaning of this, there weren't many to qualify as everybody, means that there were not many people to whom this news was to be rendered. So, come to the last thing that is written over here in the meanings. There weren't many to qualify as everybody. There weren't too many people in the village anyway. Therefore, everybody refers to the comparatively few people. So, comparatively few people over here are only known as everybody. Like we are living in Jamshedpur. The number of people over here, we will call them everybody. If we are telling some news about the Jamshedpur people. So, the people living in Debaru, there were very less number of people living over there. So, everybody qualified as the number of peoples. Okay. Now, it was just a little collection of houses after all, glorified by the name of a town. Okay. Just 11 houses for the doctor, engineer, political officers, his assistant, the clerks, compounder, nurses, and the loan set included. They all inhabited similar looking small houses, whitewashed with lime, with similar looking gardens, 2 or 3 little rooms, a little open corridor shaded by slopy tin roof leading to a kitchen behind. The corridor was flanked by a courtyard enclosed by low whitewashed boundary walls. So this is how the houses were. Not very big, not like a palace, I think, because only few houses were there in the villages. So you must be thinking they was living in very big houses, but no, that was not the kind. They used to live in small houses. They had particular rooms, particular given rooms. They had a small garden in front of their houses. This was how they lived. The people of Debaru lived. The houses were small. Political officer's garden was the largest. The political officer in that area who was living over there, he had the largest of the gardens. So most people did not understand why the houses should be small, for there was enough space here to build palaces. Each one had a little garden. Some tended jealousy, some running wild. The tribes that lived beyond the hillock across the rivers did not count. So they were counting just the 11-12 houses of the people living over there only. They did not count the tribes that were living over there. So the tribes that were living beyond the hillock means a place including that Debaru place only. There was a tribe living in some region, but they did not include that in those 11-12 houses. But an anthropologist who was coming to visit the place, or an anthropologist who studies the human races, he used to count the tribes as well. Okay, the others looked upon them as sources of their jobs, creatures who spoke gibberish, except those who had been employed by the hospital to pull the thick cloth pankha that hung from the ceiling. So creatures who spoke gibberish means the creatures who spoke nonsense. According to the people living in Debaru, the tribes that were living near the hillock was the people who used to speak only nonsense. Except the two had been employed to the hospital to pull the thick cloth pankha that hung from the ceiling. So pankha over here is as usual the fan that has been said, and the two people, they were employed to just pull that fan in the hospital. In the 6th paragraph, it was bored community and always on a lookout for excitement. So the community of 11 members were a bored community only, as because they did not have much to speak about. They had only 11 houses and they had only their inner matters, like their own personal matters that were going on in that place, in the place of Debaru. So the news of Edward Heinlein arrival was a whole new ball of game through. So the news that came that Edward Heinlein was coming into Debaru was a very good news for them. So it spread as soon as possible to all the houses. The anthropologist with an adventurous soul who preferred the tent put up in a thicket to a dark bungalow, he knew many of the languages the tribes spoke. So he was basically coming in for the tribes only. He wanted to visit to the place because he wanted to see the hospital, how they were working, the working conditions of the hospital or the place, and then also he wanted to look out for the tribes because he was very fond of the tribal people. He lived and danced with them and wrote down everything in his notebook. Then we can see that the arrangements that were made because of Edward Heinlein's arrival. Because they got the news of Edward Heinlein's arrival, the hospital, a spotlessly clean building with gleaming white walls, was the most beautiful building in the town. It had 3 wards, one for male, one for female, and one for the TB patients. TB patient is tuberculosis patient. It is a disease that is caused in your lungs due to coughing, due to continuous coughing. Maybe more than 7 to 8 days a person who coughs will be getting this disease called tuberculosis. It had little operation theatre also where the doctors used to perform their operations. Now, in the 8th paragraph, the hospital had only refrigerator in the place, a gas-fired one. A shelf of the refrigerator was regularly requisitioned, means it was regularly used to set ice creams and puddings whenever a VIP visitor came. So what is a pudding? It is a kind of cake only, and it is a kind of dessert which was being prepared by the people living over there, or a person who was particularly assigned to prepare the pudding. He used to prepare it and keep it in the refrigerator. Refrigerator is a fridge that we normally use. Outside the hospital veranda, thick, strong. Okay, outside the veranda. Now we are going to talk about the fire bucket. The fire bucket, the name of the chapter, that is, it came over here now. What is a fire bucket? We must have seen in some places, like there is a pole on which 3 buckets are hung. 3 red buckets are hung and fire is written on top. What do you think? That it contains fire in that bucket? No. It does not contain any kind of fire, but it contains dry sand which is used to put out fire in case of emergencies. Okay? In case of emergencies, that sand is used to put out fire. Now we are describing the fire bucket, what kind of fire bucket was there. Thick, strong tin buckets, conical, white-brimmed and slightly narrower lower down with rounded bottoms with a series of rivets stapling their sides together. These were the fire buckets. You can see in the picture. In the picture, it is shown the 3 fire buckets, red in color. It is written fire on top of it. It is shown that it is slightly narrower down and it is conical in shape like we usually have the buckets, but the lower part is a little rounded. So it has rounded bottoms. The buckets were filled with dry sand dug up from the bank of river and dried in sand, and had to be topped every now and then for children of everybody dug them to make sand castles. So these were to be again and again renewed because the children living over there used to make sand castles with it. Sand castles means normally the small children, what do? They like to play with sand, so they used to make sand castles with it, houses made up of sand. So as they use those sand, so they had to be refilled every now and then. The hospital had also a cylinder to extinguish fire, a very decorative piece, bright orange, that hung in full view in the front of the store. It had never been used and the staff wondered if it would work. So the staff were also wondering that if it really worked because they had never seen it working. So they never tried to check it as though it was working or not. So coming to the next thing, they had a fire bucket also and they had a fire extinguisher also. But they used the fire bucket for making the sand castles, but they never used fire extinguisher because they never needed it. The buckets were painted an orange red in color. So the color of the buckets were angry orange red. Right in front of the hospital, they hung like signpost pointers to a place where people were always prepared for emergencies. So this was a sign for people who were coming in that emergencies were having, and because of emergency, this was kept over there in the hospital. So Edward Heinlein would come to the hospital. Everyone knew that. All the visitors to the place, and there were quite a few on their way to border posts, came to gape at the hospital. So what did they do? We've already studied that this hospital was a building worth watching. So this hospital was one of the most largest and one of the most decorative building that one could come and watch in Debarru. So Edward Heinlein was coming, and the visitors liked to look at the building, and there was no other building there worth gazing at. Gazing at means staring at or looking at, because they were very fond of it. The staff found it a headache, and the POs found it astonishing. Astonishing means she was very surprised, because why did the people or the visitors came to a hospital to see? Who comes to an hospital? Okay, so who comes to a hospital? The PO's wife found it astonishing. She wondered why people want to go and look at shelves full of spirit bottles, a place smelling of antiseptics, and listen to incessant coughing of patient. Instant reaction to a person who wants to visit a hospital just to look at how it is being made. And it was very astonishing or very surprising for the PO's wife, the political officer's wife. So she always wondered why the people went to a hospital to see it. They should either be watching the gardens that were full of beautiful flowers or etc., which attracts a person, other than going to a hospital and seeing the patient. So she planted daisies, dahlias, and politely declined to escort visitors to the hospital unless someone was ill. So on the way to the hospital, she had planted these many flower plants, so that the patient who was looking over there also, she feel very nice from inside. So the PO's wife was a great person in this chapter. So now the preparations began. How did the preparation begin? The hospital was given an extra scrubbing, means the hospital was being cleaned. Sheets were closely examined, and the best were kept aside to change the next morning. Heinlein would arrive. So sheets over here are not paper sheets, these are bed sheets that were being assigned for those to come, for the Heinlein to come. Swarupama the nurse. Swarupama is a nurse. She went home and soaked her white uniform in the bleach, so that her white uniform looked very nice when the Edward Heinlein comes. Barua, the accountant clerk, left immediately to round up any eggs to make the pudding. So over here Barua was making the pudding. Now the Dak Bungalow windows were open. Dak Bungalow was a place where the visitors stayed. So this was only the place where Edward Heinlein would be staying. The mosquito net was hung out to be aired. The Seth dug into its store for biscuits. The doctor Radha Trivedi made sure everything was in place. So she made sure that everything was in place, and at last when we get all the preparations done, we once examine that it is done correctly or not. So this was done by Radha Trivedi, the doctor. The steel medicine tray were washed and cleaned, the thermometers with their face buried in little jars, the steel syringes with their narrow glass panels lined with a measuring table, and needle all boiled and clean. It would be dark soon. Having a last round of the hospital, she left, this time from the front door only to meet the PO's wife. So she was going from the front door only. As soon as she stepped forward from the front door, she was a little surprised, and she stepped back. Out of the front door, she stopped dead and saw that the fire bucket's paint was peeling off. The fire buckets that were put over there, the paint was peeling off. So what did she do? She turned back to look for Barua, but she couldn't find him anywhere. She told the compounder Hazarika to get the buckets painted. He had no time to spare, because he had already made up his mind in the evening to go back to his house and spend his time with his 1-year-old child. So what did he do? He told Shankte Nika, the panka puller, to pull the buckets and left. So over here, remember, Shankte Nika is coming from a tribal person. He is a tribal person coming from a region behind the hillock. So he was told to paint the buckets, and then he left. And then Hazarika, he left. Heinlein arrived the next day, early morning, was met by the PO and his wife, and his biscuits and tea in the Dak Bungalow, and dutifully set off to see the hospital. So as soon as he completed all his course in the first time, he went to the hospital, because the main aim of his coming to Debarru was to visit the hospital. The hospital staff had not reported to see him, aware he would have frowned if they quit their job to get garlanding him. The hospital staff was busy with the work looking after patients. The hospital staff was busy looking after the patient, Why? Because they could have gone to welcome him. They did not go. Why? Because he would have frowned. He would have got angry. Why you people left your job and came to meet me or welcome me? So they were busy in their work. The sheets had been changed. The patients were being sponged. Temperatures were being recorded, and compounders were making neat packets of medicines prescribed. So everything was being done as the way they wanted. So the Panka puller, as he saw him coming near, he ran to the doctor to alert him. Okay, that the person is already over here and now get back to the work. Heinlein stepped up 2 steps of the veranda and looked at the fire buckets. His eyes widened imperceptibly. Imperceptibly, his wide eyes in. So the wide eyes came more wide. Why? Because he saw the fire buckets, and the fire buckets were painted yellow in color. As we all know, the color of the fire bucket is angry red orange, but it was now colored bright yellow. The Panka puller might not be knowing the color, and then he had by mistake painted it yellow in color. They still smelled faintly of the fresh paint. He smiled as the rest of the team froze and suddenly came together. They would in an emergency. So Heinlein was trying to say something. Everybody began talking at once. This way, sir. How was your ride, sir? Please come in, sir. First TV what, sir? Or tea, sir? So they were all trying to divert his mind so that he could not say that the color of the fire bucket is not yellow but bright orange red in color. So they were very scared about that. He saw everything inside the hospital, from the thermometer to the bedpan, the store with its shelf of liquids and little bottles, and the stacks of paper. He was examining each and everything present in the hospital. The wards with their snow white sheets, patients were made to sit up and talk to him. They went to the Seth's shop. Now who went to the Seth's shop? Barwa, and with him other staff members were there. So they went to the Seth's shop to get a paint bottle or a paint tin red in color. So what did they do? The Panka puller and the Barwa each took charge of one bucket and slapped red paint on its coat. On its coat of yellow, the red appeared a little blotchy orange at places, but it was at least no more yellow in color. So now Barwa and the two Panka puller were engaged in painting the fire bucket. So as they were painting the fire bucket, what happened was that they were not now doing the work that they were already assigned to do. So they have been out of their track and they were now painting the fire buckets. After the fire buckets were being painted, they put it on its place and then they got back to their work. Heinlein had his mandatory round of tea and assorted biscuits in the doctor's office. Heard the doctor's report on prevalence of goiter. Goiter over here is a swelling of throat disease and of the thyroid gland. So the throat gets swollen, and that disease is called goiter. You all must have studied in science also. As he stepped out, he turned around the veranda to look pointedly at the fire buckets. Now again he saw the fire buckets, and the fire buckets were now bright red orange in color. So and it had a sharp smell of fresh paint also. They all stood looking a little sleepish, but sure that had remedied their foolish mistake. They had already made a foolish mistake of painting it yellow in color, but now they have remedied it. That is, they have already made it correct. He turned to the doctor and said, "Now what Edward Heinlein is saying, this is the climax of the story. I was trying to tell you all that yellow is the clan color of the local tribe. Yellow is the clan color of the local tribe, means the local tribe people, they like yellow color and it is a clan color of that place. So they think it auspicious. When I saw those buckets, I knew at once that the member of the local tribe had painted it. So when the anthropologist saw the color of the fire bucket was yellow in color, he immediately came to know that a person from a local tribe has painted it. And it was really true, because the Panka puller, Shangte Nika, I hope this was only the name. Yes, Shangte Nika had only painted it, and he was from a local tribe only. So he had painting it. He found it very interesting. You know, I thought you were adapting and trying to make this place a little more welcome for the tribes. It was so refreshing to see you adapt, but it was my mistake. So he told that I was very happy that you are now adapting people and you are now accepting people of the tribes also. But no, that was my mistake. That was your mistake that you had painted it yellow in color. And it was my mistake that I thought that you are trying to adapt the local tribes as well. The pudding did not taste so good that evening. Why? Because Barwa was involved in painting the fire buckets only. Everybody wished they had not gone to trouble of painting the buckets red. So now everybody was wishing that the painting of the yellow bucket was done correctly. We have only made a mistake of painting it again red in color. So the story ended with Edward's expectation that the local tribes were no longer deprived of living lives like others, but it was his mistake. So this is the story, and we wrap up with the story. We've already taken much time. So your work will be, you will be writing 25 difficult words. First of all, you will draw double lines, write fire buckets by Anjali Deshpande. You will pick out 25 difficult words and write in your notebook. Then there are around 24 meanings. You will write all the 24 meanings in your notebook. And the last thing that you will write is on page number 45. On page number 45, you have 4 to 5 lines written about Anjali Deshpande. So writing about the author, write on top about the author and write about Anjali Deshpande. Thank you so much, students. I hope this will be beneficial. I opted to take a video because the online classes were already creating a lot of mess. I cannot say that a lot of mess, but it was usually taking too much of time. So this video should be very beneficial for you all. So go through the chapter, read the chapter twice, try to understand, look at the full video, try to think what more can be added to it, and then we will be meeting in the next class. Thank you so much. Complete your work and be ready for the next class.